another episode of the Mannschrecks. I'm JJ.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're here in that place we go to get away from the things that have a point. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. Are you ready to approach the news desk?
Yes.
Actually, can I go first?
Oh, sure.
I have 3 stories today,
Okay.
so I just couldn't winnow it down. I had like 6 stories, and I cut out a bunch, but...
Thank you.
Okay, so this first story, it makes me... I have mixed feelings, because on the one hand, I think it's really funny, but then I'm torn about, like, just it's a complex issue. So, French farmers sprayed manure all over their government buildings.
Why?
Because they are protesting some of the new regulations. Okay, so here's the tricky part.
Okay.
So first off, it's really funny that they sprayed manure all over it. Like, it's just these there's video of it, and there's tractors just driving down the road, and they're just like spraying it, like the farm machines that like have little conveyor belts or whatever, and it's just like launching it at it's gross. It doesn't look like liquidy. It's like dry, but it's still disgusting. So it's the EU and the UK are they put in new restrictions on cattle farmers.
Okay.
For climate change. They want to reduce the amount of cattle, so they're being forced to slaughter their cattle stock to stop climate change. At the same time, Brazil has increased its herd size by 30%, and the exports to the EU are up 27%.
This is garbage.
So it's like the UK farmers who grow the cattle, they're being forced to get rid of their stock, and then the meat demand is not going down, so they're just importing it from another country that doesn't have those restrictions.
That's actually worse for the environment.
Brazil is becoming a really...
Well, and it's also worse because, your carbon footprint is significantly higher if you're transporting cattle
6,000
somewhere
miles.
else.
Yes.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yep. And so they're really mad, and so...
Oh my gosh, this is so illogically stupid.
Farmers are demanding fewer government restrictions, so they are demonstrating in front of the DDTM, which is the Direction Départementale des Territoires. It's in Quimper, France, and that's basically their Department of Territories or whatever.
Okay.
Symbolizing widespread disdain for the government's attempts to undermine their businesses through taxation and regulations.
That is really ridiculous, though.
Well, and I can understand where they're coming from. They want to do something good for the climate, but
that's the wrong way to go about climate change.
Well, clearly, if Brazil is going to make up for it and more, all you're doing is hurting your citizens.
Yeah.
And the protests involved a host of farmers affiliated with the Young Farmers of Brittany and the Department Federation of Farmers Unions, which is FDSEA. I think it's in French because those letters don't line up.
Yeah.
But they target regional institutions, including the buildings. Although these protests have caused significant transport disruptions, there have been no severe or hostile confrontations between the protesters and the police. They're not being violent or anything, but they're upset, and they're making sure that the government knows it.
That's just wow. That's ridiculous.
I just thought it was fat. And it touched on a couple of nerves for us, because we do care a lot about climate change, but we also care a lot about farmers being able to farm.
More environmentally stable. Yeah, there's so many avenues I could go, but it's just not worth it, because that's just yeah.
Yep. I felt like if meat consumption dropped, that would be different. But the fact that no, they're still doing it. They're just
need the meat.
shipping it on a boat.
Well, and that's got to be worse for your economy.
Way worse. Oh, it's worse for the economy, and it's worse for the environment. And
this is such a...
It kind of backfires.
Yeah.
Their attempt to do a good job only hurts their people, and so they get covered in...
Yeah, that's smart. Wow. Okay.
Made me laugh.
It's ridiculous. Mine is a very different type of story.
All right, bring it on.
So a Californian passes the state bar exam at 17 and is sworn in as an attorney.
Wow.
Yep. The boy's name is Peter Park.
Oh, man. Is he also Spider-Man?
No. But he looks exactly like a student that I used to have when I taught at NMU.
Nice.
So he's 17 years old. He is the youngest person to pass the exam, and it said that it was a hailed achievement. So it says it's a major accomplishment at any age, and for someone as young as Mr. Park, it's quite an extraordinary feat. So the 17-year-old, he took the exam in July and received the news on November 9 from the district attorney's office. And this individual began high school. This makes me feel so old.
When they're 12?
No, he began high school in 2019 at age 13. And simultaneously began a 4-year Juris Doctor program at Northwestern California University of Law.
Good grief.
So at the same time he's starting high school,
Yeah.
he's starting a program to work toward becoming an attorney at 13. Or sorry, at 13.
Yeah.
So he graduated high school in 2021 by taking the state's high school proficiency exam and then focused solely on his law degree. He became a law clerk in August and then just at the end of November turned 18. But he had passed the bar exam before he even turned 18 and was sworn in as an attorney just this past Tuesday.
Wow. I got to imagine you have to be 18 before you can be sworn in.
Well, and so what perfect timing. Oh, I graduated high school. Oh, I graduated from my law degree. Oh, I passed the bar exam at 17. Oh, I'm an 18-year-old attorney.
Wow. That's
but
amazing.
I'm like,
a little bit.
gosh.
So here's my thing. So when I was growing up, there were lots of stories like that of these like wonder kids who were like, oh, I was 12 years old when I graduated from high school and I finished college by the time I was, whatever. And I remember that used to be a goal in my mind. It was like, yes, it is good.
It seems like an extreme society, like extreme pressure, though.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I remember thinking it's good to be as young as humanly possible when you accomplish these things. Mm-hmm. The problem is now, looking back, I remember thinking, like, you have to go through it as quickly as possible, get done early, graduate fast. And it's like, that's also the most expensive route, right? Like, if you went part-time and worked full-time. Now, I'm assuming this kid had, like, full ride scholarships.
I'm sure he did, yeah.
But even then, it's like, it's as if the ultimate goal of forming a human being is their educational status.
Yep.
And now that I have a master's degree, we've done all of that, I look back and I'm like, actually, the ultimate goal for forming a teenager shouldn't be getting a law degree.
No.
Like, I actually maybe would almost say, that's really sad, and maybe his parents should have let him have a childhood. Because you don't get another childhood. It's so many adults these days spend so much of their time desperately trying to be kids again. I don't want responsibility. I don't want whatever. And I'm like, maybe let a kid, like, it is amazing. And I don't want to, like, take away from his accomplishment.
It's a very admirable.
It's amazing, incredible, good job, kid. And I do mean kid, right? Like,
he is a kid.
That's incredible. And it's something I couldn't do. So, right. Maybe I'm just like, I don't think I'm jealous at all.
I'm not jealous, but I mean, it's amazing.
But you know what I mean, right? Like, maybe people would say that I'm just speaking this way because I couldn't do it. But it's like, even if you can do it, I'm just not sure I don't think the happiest life is the most prestigious and most educated life. I think sometimes the happiest life is simpler and just surrounded with a more holistic life experience. It's like, did that kid get to play with friends ever?
How was their...
Did he ever have a sleepover night where they played video games and drank Mountain Dew?
What was your childhood like? Yep.
I'm like, where's the goofiness of childhood?
Right.
Because you don't get that back. That goes away. Once you're 18 and once you're out of school and stuff, like, real life sets in. And that, it's not that it's a bummer. It's just, it's a different stage.
No, it's just... like, you miss out on a lot of experiences. Not you have to have all of the childhood experiences, like, that's not always necessary, but like, I mean, there's something to be said about, like, still having, like, a decent childhood where you got to relax and enjoy normal things and just be a normal person.
Oh my gosh, totally. I feel like, so I think, especially when I was a kid, because I was young for my age, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Not anything like this, but I graduated when I was 17.
Right,
and people were like, whoa, you're one of the younger kids in the class. And I always took so much pride in that, because I did used to hold up this kid's story as like, that's the most incredible and that's the best and that's what you want to be. And now I look and I'm like, well, it's cool, but
yeah,
wouldn't
I
you
appreciated
like, I'm glad for the childhood I had.
At
and I really
17, I was still in high school. Yeah. And I mean,
that was okay.
I was a fairly responsible high school student at 17. Like, I was babysitting, I was driving, like, I was, babysitting for multiple families multiple times a week, and I was, it wasn't like I was going off and doing crazy stuff, and I wasn't partying. I mean, it's homeschooled,
no, but you were living a whole life, right?
Right, and I think it was a pretty decent life. Like, I was
phenomenal,
involved in lots of fun things. But
I think back to all the dumb stuff I did with my buddies, and it's like, those are memories that I will cherish, and I'm so glad I have them, and I wouldn't trade them for getting out of school faster. Like, I actually wanted school to last longer.
I
'cause of all the
remember
joy.
when I graduated. So I graduated with a group of, it was a large graduating class. I would say there were at least 15 or 16 of us homeschooled kids that graduated together. And there were a fair amount of people in my graduating class that had been dual enrolled in high school, like high school classes and community college classes.
And I did some of that.
As students, homeschool students.
Wow.
And there was one girl who was graduating with us, and she was only 16. And I remember at the time, she seemed so young, and she also seemed so burnt out already. Like, she was very much like your very typical, like, very religious family, very focused on academics still. And, you got to do this and you got to do this. But she just seemed so young, and she seemed so tired. She was like, well, when she was like listing all her stuff, like we're all sitting there going, like, she was like, well, I graduated with this, and I was in this, and I did this, and now I'm studying this, and I'm also pre this. And it was like, she was just, it was so overwhelming to me. And I was like, you're 16. Like, I thought about taking college classes. And at the time I was just like, my parents told me, they were like, we don't have the money to pay for that kind of stuff out of pocket. So it would have to be something that you put your finances toward. And I was like, maybe I should spend the summer like babysitting and making money after I graduate and use some of that and just go to community college in the fall. And it worked out because I was paying for my community college classes out of pocket. Yeah. But I didn't have enough saved to start doing it earlier than that, because I was babysitting a lot, but I was also a teenager. Like, I was still spending on stupid stuff like going shopping and stuff.
I just think,
but it's so overwhelming for a 16-year-old to be like, and I'm finished with high school, but now I'm halfway finished with college, and it's like,
well, and I just think, and this is maybe, and I'm just learning how to express this, but I think, especially with students, like, there's so much pressure on them to achieve, and there's not enough focus on young people developing. Does that make sense? Like, it's like you've accomplished all these things, you've passed all these tests, you fit into our boxes really well, and it's like, but did you explore who you were?
Well, did you go life and try a laundry list things? Of achievements? Like,
well, but that's what it is for a kid. That's
what it is in a lot of our belief systems in our American culture. Like, what have you accomplished?
Yeah, like how many extracurriculars can you shove into your life that will be on your college whatever? And it's like, are you doing them because just for that? And that's not wrong to do that, but when your whole life is consumed by that, right? You stick these kids, I think about the sports programs, and we just stick them in these programs that are like, let's churn out little athletes who can get a scholarship. And there's nothing wrong if a kid gets a scholarship. That's amazing. Like, I'm so proud of that person. But it's like if you're losing some, it
becomes what defines you. And then if you fail in any of those, you have a huge life an identity crisis.
Really mess you up.
It can, because you're the kid who achieves everything. Well, I always do this, I always get this, I'm always good at this, I always have this always happens for me, but I didn't get it. And then there's this huge identity crisis, and then suddenly you not only feel like you've let everybody else down, you feel like you don't know who you are and you've let yourself down. And it's like this huge, what the heck do I do now? Like, maybe I'm a failure, and you have a huge crisis on your hands, and it's like, it's so much pressure for kids.
It is.
Especially high schoolers.
So I guess I want kids to do well and achieve, and I don't want to take anything away from this kid's accomplishment. Maybe that was his dream, and that was what he wanted to do. Awesome, amazing, like, so great, good job. Like, but I do think we're focused on getting our children to achieve things rather than focusing our children to develop and grow into healthy humans. I would so much rather my children, like, I guess I just don't think or worry that much about what they'll be when they grow up. I want to make sure that they've have the full range of human emotions and are well developed people.
Well, and able to control the full range of human emotions. That's the biggest thing.
Well, we do have one.
We have the range of emotions. We just need to work on controlling them.
It sounds like you've been dealing with a 3-year-old lately.
And a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Speaking of anger, there's a transition. Ohio woman who threw her Chipotle burrito bowl at an employee sentenced to work in fast food. Did you see this?
I will never understand the logic behind getting so irate at a fast food worker that you feel the need to be violent to them in throwing your drink or your burger or this happens all the time. And every single time I'm like, this is not managing emotions well. This is also not the normal adult human response to things. Like, seriously?
It was amazing. So this lady, she took a Chipotle burrito bowl, which is a yummy thing. Like, that's wonderful. She threw it at an employee.
This is ridiculous.
And the video is bad. It's pretty violent. Like, she smashes it into the kid's face. It's like a 17-year-old girl.
Oh my gosh.
And the woman throws it just like violently, aggressively. She's so angry. And it was because it didn't look the way she wanted it to. Like, it didn't look so. Let me read. An Ohio woman threw her freshly made Chipotle burrito.
Oh, she was from Ohio? That explains so much.
To all our listeners in Ohio, we're not sorry. Get it together. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
So her name is Rosemary Haynes. She's 39 years old. She was sentenced to 180 days in jail, so 6 months. She served 3 months. She did 90 days. And then the judge said the second half of your sentence, you can reduce it if you serve in
I think that's a brilliant idea. I think everyone should work in fast food and know what it's like to provide customer service for someone and get, absolutely slammed by people who don't understand that they are not the kings and queens of the world.
So she's getting out of jail and she has to work in a fast food restaurant at least 20 hours a week.
So part-time hours and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, she's obviously not getting paid for it, but
do you want to walk in their shoes for 2 months and learn how people should treat people, or do you want to do your jail time? The judge asked Haynes.
What did she respond with?
No, she took it.
Oh,
she took
okay.
the deal.
I was gonna say.
Yep. She's like, I'd like to walk in her shoes. She responded. So she apologized to the employee.
I hope that girl goes back, buys Chipotle, and shoves it in that lady's face. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, that would be
that's so petty.
The 17-year-old Emily Russell, so that was the employee. She did quit her job. She was traumatized from getting attacked.
I would quit my job too. That's awful.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. I've gotten yelled at. I've gotten, people super upset just working at a drive-through window selling hot dogs.
So in the original trial, so this is before this was the deal, right?
Okay.
But then in the original trial, during the sentencing, the lady tried to defend herself, saying, if I showed you how my food looked and how my food looked a week later from that same restaurant, it's disgusting looking, she said. And then the judge responded with, I bet you won't be happy with the food you're going to get in jail. Oh.
Mic drop.
She threw the food.
I just can't.
And so there's video of it, and then there's a bystander who appears to stop the lady, another lady who was talking to her, and they had a screaming fit outside the store as well. And so it's a whole thing. The lady... The young student, Emily Russell, told NBC News affiliate that she thinks her decision is fair and she wants that the woman to experience what working in fast food is really like.
I mean, what a thankless thing to do to someone. I don't understand the entitlement of this current culture we live in. Why are you so much better that you get to treat any other human being any less than you would want to be treated yourself, especially over something like serving food? Are you seriously telling me that you haven't cooked food at home and been like, well, that doesn't look the best, but it'll be okay, it'll still taste fine, and your family eats it? Do they shove their food in your face?
Well, and I wonder about is this a Midwest sensibility? Because we even if there's a bug in my food, it's oh, I'm so sorry.
You know how many times I've accepted the incorrect order and just been like, oh no, it's fine. Thank you. Oh, I really appreciate it. Thank you. I could not imagine treating someone, especially someone having worked in food service, especially I could not imagine treating someone like that. That is just so rude and disrespectful, and just, I mean, it's not kind to treat anyone that way. I don't care.
And I'm assuming that this woman, there must have been external circumstances.
Oh, she was probably triggered by so many things. Bad day, something happened. Ugh, but still.
Yeah, and so I just think, if there's something wrong with my food, or, if you get the wrong order or whatever, it's totally, you can go back and talk to them. But you just ask them, hey, I'm so sorry, this is, and for me, just in the Midwest, we have to apologize. And,
I'm so sorry, but.
I'm so sorry to inconvenience you, but please get my food order right. Yeah. But even the thing, she's not it was wrong. She said it looked disgusting. And it's okay, it looks bad.
They're literally, it's just like Subway. They're literally just scooping from the ingredients that are right there laid out in front of you.
So how did you...
Is she not scooping correctly? I mean, you are an adult. She is a 17-year-old child.
Yep, that's the other part.
Yep.
Well, and I mean, even if the employee is an adult, they are human beings deserving of...
Oh, yeah.
And I love the punishment fits the crime here, though, because I do think people need to work in food service, because that builds your empathy, it builds your humility to kind of grit your teeth and deal with difficult people. Mm-hmm. I just don't think people should be that difficult. That's awful.
No.
So
it's fast food.
I'm not 100% sure that this woman's going to learn a lesson, although maybe, enough. public scorn, I think probably.
I think maybe she probably learned she's never going to go to Chipotle again.
There you go.
Oh,
all right, what else you got?
Okay, well, this next story is a little cleaner. So a 220-ton Nova Scotia building was moved using 700 bars of soap.
Nice. I saw
a hotel in Nova Scotia was moved by a construction firm using 700 bars of soap. I'm like, what the heck are you using?
Move a building with soap?
Apparently, there's a building called the Elmwood Building. It was built as a home in 1826 and converted into a Victorian hotel in 1896.
Nice.
But it was slated for demolition in 2018. Saved by a sale to this property company, which said it was going to move the structure closer to the street and put it on a new foundation so it could connect to a planned apartment building. So they're going to repurpose the building. Excuse me. So the 220-ton building was successfully removed using soap.
That's amazing.
It was pulled 30 feet across a steel frame by 2 excavators and a tow truck. They said instead of using rollers, they decided to use 700 bars of ivory soap. He said ivory soap is particularly soft, making for a smooth move.
It's got to be the ivory soap.
Yeah, I guess. So it said the Elmwood would be moved again in the near future once the actual foundation is completed. So it was moved off the existing foundation to a temporary spot there on the beams. And then once the foundation of the building where they're going to attach it to the apartment complex is finished, they will move it the rest of the way.
Wow.
And I'm just like, using soap? Like, I've never in my mind.
It's so creative.
Like, I remember as a kid, like, being, like, super excited. Like, we saw, there were a couple of Victorian homes in Spring Lake where I grew up. And I remember it was a big deal. Like, 2 of the homes were actually moved, like, from one block to another because they wanted to be in a different location. But they literally, like, raised that whole house up and put it on the back of a truck and drove it, like, down the street and then removed it and put it. But, like, I can't imagine watching them drag a 220-ton building using soap. Like,
it's just, and I love it.
Who came up with that idea?
Someone very clever. I was like, when I saw that, the first thing that occurred to me was like, that's so much cheaper, I bet, than whatever like use fancy rollers or equipment, or just go down to the store and buy some bars of soap.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's a lot of bars of soap, but still, that's
it's just crazy.
I like it. You get them in bulk,
that's happening in Canada.
The video is pretty cool too.
Yeah, like, it was crazy. Like to watch that.
And you can see that it's like this old, beautiful building, but it's pretty beat up, right?
Yeah.
And it definitely needs some renovation
repairs,
work. But it's cool. And then they show the clip of the, like, here's what it's going to look like with the apartments attached. It's like, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool and clever repurposing of something that was about to just be raised.
Yeah,
but, to move it with soap is a whole new level.
Turning those homes into hotels is a cool idea.
It is. I know a lot of homes like that are like, well, if people maintain them well over the years, they end up turning into like bed and breakfast or something. And that's always a cool thing to see,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But
I love it.
I was like, soap. Okay.
Soap.
Anyways.
All right. Woman shot in the butt after sliding into an MRI machine with a loaded firearm.
That part where they ask you to remove all metallic objects.
They do. She was asked
literally a
multiple
reason.
times. I love this. This is the first line from NewYorkPost.com. Who said being confined in a loud, claustrophobic metal tube couldn't be a blast? An unidentified Wisconsin woman was left with an extra pair of holes in her butt when she...
Someone had way too much fun.
This author's having too much fun writing the article. After she took a loaded firearm into an MRI machine during a doctor's visit back in June. The story just came out a couple days ago, but Food and Drug Administration records show. Why FDA records? So a 57-year-old woman had a handgun concealed on her person as she slid into the MRI.
Now, how uncomfortable. You lay on your back. You're going to lay on your back with a gun in your back pocket? Like
something
near your
like
back?
That, yeah. The machine's powerful magnets were engaged, the metal trigger tripped, and the gun discharged.
Did that not cross your mind at all?
Yeah, right. Like, and apparently it's like that's their standard procedure. They always when you're going in for an MRI, take off all the metal, right? Yep. Like they make you take
rings,
off
jewelry, belts, anything.
Yep. And like that's totally normal. And so somehow they managed to take...
I guess I'm confused how she was... Don't they usually require you to put on a gown to go into an MRI machine?
See, in that part I don't understand. Maybe not, though.
Maybe it was like a quick... She had to get in for...
Yeah, it's like at the airport. Take off the metal, but keep your clothes on. kind of a thing.
It's bizarre.
Patient received a gunshot wound in the right buttock, but she was in the hospital, so they were able to treat it right away, right there.
And also could have been avoided if she had just listened to the protocol beforehand.
The physician on site described the entry and exit wounds as very small and superficial, only penetrating subcutaneous tissue. So it's just it was like a through the butt cheek.
What a pain in the butt.
No bit. Like, it would have been a lot worse if it tried to, like, if it hit bone or anything like that.
Oh my gosh.
But the woman was hospitalized. Her wounds were treated. She went on to make a full recovery. It's unclear how she was able to bring a weapon into the MRI room. She underwent the routine screening for metal objects, and she said she had none on her before entering. So this is all on her.
This is totally her own fault.
The hospital has no liability here at all, because they always ask, are you wearing any metal? And so this woman had to, the only way to do it is maybe she forgot, or maybe she lied.
How do you forget that? I don't know.
Well, but it's like...
Yeah, no, I get it. I just think it's...
I have a gun in my pocket, and it's like when the doctor says no metal, they mean it. Like, they're not just doing it for funsies. They mean, no, there's a giant magnet in here, and your gun will struggle. Also, this lady, like, this is not the only time this has ever happened. As recently as in October, a nurse in San Francisco hospital suffered injuries after she became trapped between an MRI and a hospital bed. Oof. Because the bed was drawn to the machine. Like, this magnet is for realsies. And then in January, there was a Brazilian lawyer who was killed in a Sao Paulo hospital because a handgun he was carrying at the waistband was ripped from his pants and discharged into his stomach.
Ooh.
So the butt one is funny, but it's like, this is really a serious
situations
thing.
That can happen.
MRI is a giant magnet, and that's cool, and it does whatever it's supposed to do to help people. But when they say, do you have any metal on you? It's not like a cute suggestion. Mm-mm. It's a medically necessary, important requirement. Ooh, so anyways, are you ready for Sponsor Your Life?
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
All right, so this past weekend, we had a nice slow weekend, actually. It was really good. But one of the things we did was we made gingerbread houses with the boys, and that was really fun. Usually gingerbread houses get kind of chaotic, and I realized, like, Liam and Amos are getting older, so it's not as, like, shove as much candy in your mouth as possible. And, I have always made homemade gingerbread, which is always... It just tastes better. Like,
it's so much better.
It's just more fun, I guess. The boys helped me make the houses and cookies in the afternoon, and then in the evening we assembled them and everything, and that was really fun. Like, they each made their own little A-frame gingerbread house.
Yep,
and
super simple.
It was really cute. They had a really good time. We went to that parade a couple weeks ago, and
I picked up all that candy.
Got all that candy, and I was like, oh, I just didn't even... Well, the funniest part was, it like never left the wagon. Like, the wagon was still in the garage a week later, and I went, I never took that candy inside, Liam. Go grab that candy. And they used all the candy that they got at the parade on their gingerbread houses. Yep. And it's been great, They did a good job, and it was actually really fun and cute to watch. And I didn't have to make anything. No. I just provided the icing.
You baked the gingerbread, and that's another thing, like... You can buy kits, and that's cool.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Those are fun. We did see the Living Nativity kits.
Not Living Nativity.
Just
that would be next level.
Yeah, gingerbread house.
A gingerbread house nativity kit at Hobby Lobby, which I was just shocked to find existed.
It's
which
very
was cute.
It was cute.
But no, we did a traditional house.
No, we just But those kits, like, they're very dried out, right? It's cardboard. You don't want to eat that.
Yep.
But and I grew up thinking, I don't like gingerbread. It's gross.
Me too.
But when you make it intentionally softer. Which
I just go for the softer cookie.
Yeah, and that's so much better. Like, that tastes delicious. Like,
and by now their houses are stale, so they probably are crunchy.
Yes. But before, when they first were baked, they were really good.
Yeah.
And so the boys just they had a great time doing that.
They did.
That's definitely it's a tradition in our house, and I love it.
It's fun tradition,
Like, even Asher was doing pretty well,
He was.
It was kind of every other candy went in his mouth.
Yeah,
but
candy in his mouth, but he was really trying to listen when I said no. Like, I put all the icing on his on his roof, and he was sticking those gumdrops and
Yep.
mints on, and I said, no eating. And he looked at me, and he started to put one towards his mouth, and then he put it back on the house. And I was like, okay. But it was really cute. They had a fun time, and it was no stress. Like, we had a great night. There was no, oh my gosh, the house is falling apart because you added too much candy on this side. Like,
nope,
I just let them each do their own and said, you each get a pile of candy. Have fun. Mom and Dad will pipe the icing if you need it, where you want it, so that you don't have to try and do that yourself. And that was great. It was a good little activity. And we had a screen-free weekend, with the exception of the football game yesterday.
Well, yes, there was that.
It was good. I thought it was really fun. So
it was awesome. It was such a great, just a wonderful holiday tradition, and definitely a good sponsor. Yeah. So for my sponsor, this past weekend we went to the library on my day off. Now you take the kids to the library kind of regularly, like once a week or something. Yeah. But I don't get to go very much, and it was like. Actually, it was a whim. We were over in Saginaw for something else. At the church. And then it was like, on the way home, it was like, well, we got to return the books. And then it was like, oh, they're actually open on Saturday. Why don't we all go in? And it was like, okay, cool. True. And we were right at the edge of lunchtime. So there was some like melted downiness when we left. But when we got there, it was just so fun to be there as a whole family. And the boys, they had a great time. They went searching through everything. And our library, they have really friendly people working there, which is awesome. I can't remember the name of the library. It's like Zool Memorial Library. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of branches in Saginaw, but the one we do is on the west end. And it's great. And the people who work there are wonderful. And we went in and there was like a kid's play area.
They have a storytime room,
and they loved it. Storytime room with like little kitchen set and fake food and fake popsicles and fake dishes and holy smokes, Liam was off looking for books, and the other three just had a great time for a long time. We had to pull them away because it was lunchtime. It was like, we need to go home.
It's a good time. They loved the
library. It was awesome. It was so much fun, and I love public libraries. I'm a huge supporter because they're free. They're good for the community. It encourages reading in young people. And obviously there's like computer banks and they have the movie wall and stuff. But honestly, it's mostly books. And I really appreciate libraries and I'm grateful for them. And that's been a really positive formation for our kids is to read as much as they can. And I love that. So
it's a good time.
I'm very thankful for our library. Mm-hmm. Everywhere we've lived, I've always been very thankful for our library.
It's true. Like, we lived in Flushing, the library was much smaller and had a smaller selection, but the kids still loved going there.
Well, and they're connected to a network, right? So even the really small building in Flushing, we worked out.
Oh, yeah, the Genesee County Libraries. Like, I have to say, like, so every year we do the Advent books, right? I'll go and I'll check out 25 books, and then every day I wrap a new one and put it under the tree. And, like... It was good in Flushing. Like, we had a really good time doing that. That was the first year we did that last year. But the Saginaw network is much better. Yeah. Like, I will say, like, where we are now, like, the network of libraries is much more, like, comprehensive, and I have access to even more books. So, like, doing school last year in Flushing, doing the Advent books last year in Flushing, we had a good selection. Yeah. It just wasn't as good as it is here, so it's kind of shocking how many more books we have access to, and the kids just love this library is significantly bigger even.
It's part of it. I mean, Saginaw's a big city, right? It's a bigger part city. Of a bigger network.
Well, and it's surprising though, because even Flushing was outside of Flint. You'd think there would be more libraries, but it's just it's a good network of libraries. And so one of the first things we do when we move to new community is always, okay, we're getting a library card.
Yep, where's the library?
And that's what Liam wanted to do. Is we moved here and we hadn't even been here a month, and we were like, okay, let's find the library, and Liam's going to get his first library card. Like, it's just a priority because it's such a good thing to get plugged into in the community. And
it's really, that's just sponsoring my life is all public libraries. But anyways, okay, so I did come up with a fun little... I did not come up with a game. I stole it from another podcast.
Which is how you usually get your ideas.
Yeah, of course. That's what you do, right? If a good idea is a good idea. But this is a segment called Grown Up Christmas List. I forgot what it was. Based on the Amy Grant song from 90s, 80s? A long time ago. There's a lady named Amy Grant.
Don't say the 80s is a long time ago because it really wasn't that long ago.
Well, it was though. Anyway, she has a song called Grown Up Christmas List or something like that. And the list is very very deep. like, oh wow, look at these amazing things that she's asking for. It's very selfless.
Sure most people know the song.
I've never heard of it before.
You've heard it, you just didn't know what it was called.
Oh, okay. Well.
I'm pretty sure you've heard it before.
So in response, I thought it would be funny to come up with a petty Christmas list. So our grown-up Christmas list is where we come up with a couple of things that we think we would like for Christmas, that just changes we want to make to the world. Not real gifts, but like petty, ridiculous things that we want to ask for. And credit where credit's due. Fun Sexy Bible Time is a podcast that talks about this, and they did this segment, and it made me laugh a lot. And so I thought it would be funny to talk about it today.
Okay, so what do you got?
Oh, I don't have anything.
Oh, you don't have anything? You just wanted me to list it?
Maybe. Here, you go first, and I'll think of something.
Okay, so I didn't think about this one that much, but I have been bemoaning lately how sad the Christmas tree has been shedding everywhere. So if they could make a
yes,
hypoallergenic non-shedding Christmas tree, I'd really appreciate
that's live.
Yeah, that's a live Christmas tree. I'm not going to go for the fake
one.
But I just was like, and to be fair, we have boys that wrestle into the Christmas tree constantly, and there have been so many days where I'm like, you're going to knock the Christmas tree over.
A live tree that's more fake.
I just don't want to vacuum it anymore. I really just would love for it to stay looking vibrant and no needles on the ground, because I've been vacuuming daily around the tree, and that just, it's obnoxious.
Yep.
So.
There you go. I want, so on my grown-up Christmas list, I want a robot dad that gets to be the bad guy. And what I mean by that is when you have to remind your kids to pick up the toys over and over and over and over and over, and it's just the not fun part of parenting. I just want to like offload that onto a Roomba type thing. Well, I don't want it to, I want the kid to do the picking up, right? He still needs to do it, but I just, the thing where you have to, all you have to do is stand there and remind them, oh, you're starting to play instead of put away, just get back on task. But that's the no fun part.
Nah, I agree. Because then I end up just standing there and cleaning up with them, and then I realize I've been cleaning up this whole time and they've been playing this whole time, and I went, oh, so I've just become your servant.
Well, and that doesn't help them grow at all.
No.
So I also want a bookshelf that goes into eternity, or maybe a rotating book. We need more bookshelf space in this world.
No, we just need to get rid of all the bad books that I don't read or don't need anymore, so we have room for good books that we actually want.
Maybe that's what I want. I want a bookshelf that you put it back on the shelf and it disappears.
Self-cleaning.
Yeah, you can bring it up. Maybe I want a digital bookshelf, and you push the button. I want real books to come out of it, but I want to be able to type in the book and it will come onto the shelf, and that's what's on the shelf. That's what I want. I want a magic
magic bookshelf.
I say digital, but what I mean is magic.
You design it, and
I'll make
someone
millions.
somewhere, some 17-year-old kid in California will build it for you.
There you go. Yes.
Make millions.
Perfect. Do you have anything else on your list?
Yeah. What was I thinking about the other day? Shoot. Oh, I just like a self-cleaning fridge, like a fridge that when stuff is going bad, it would just,
automatically
dispose of it, so I don't have to dig through the fridge and be like, oh, that went bad.
That's tucked
or
behind.
It would just clean itself out. I hate scrubbing out the fridge.
Yep.
I need to wipe down the inside of the fridge right now, and it's just been on my list for a week, and I just
the self-cleaning fridge. That's good. I like that.
So gross.
I would love the ability to send messages to other cars from my car. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you just want to tell the people that they're driving poorly.
Nope. Sometimes it's to say sorry. Have you ever done a turn and you're just sorry? You're
no, JJ, I'm a perfect driver. I don't know what you're talking about.
I wish I could point to the car and it would catch my arm movement and connect me to that car, so I could send them a message that said, I'm so sorry that I missed a turn, or I didn't see what I was doing. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me in. Or yes, sometimes to say, hey, that was not a cool thing that you did just then.
Cut it out. You're being a jerk.
or more importantly, good messages, hey, your taillight's out. Did you know that? There've been times where you drive past a car and it's is it worth, you're at a stoplight, is it worth hopping out or knocking on their window to tell them, hey, something's broken or whatever. Maybe you didn't know your gas cap's open, or
I've seen that more often.
I just want the ability to message other cars.
Yeah.
That's on my grown-up wish list.
That's a Christmas list, really.
What did I say? Wish Christmas list? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was that's an interesting wish to have.
Mm-hmm. I'm making things up. Like, these don't exist. I just want them.
Oh, just my kids growing out of clothes very quickly, and just like if the dressers could just self-update. Really, I just want a lot of modern technology. Just as you're mentioning with the bookshelves, just my kids. The other day, Liam came on. He's like, "These pants are too tight and too short," and I went, "What the heck?
You just keep growing.
Just got those." I just really wish
wanted
that
to
it
cycle
just always,
out with the upsize. Just I want the
it'll
clothes.
just switch. It'll like Mary Poppins style, just jump from one drawer to the next kid's drawer, and if there's a hole in it, it just disappears. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I've patched so many pants, but I have 4 boys, so it's not like that's gonna stop happening. But
Nope.
I just
I love that. It's a constant cycle. You do.
It is.
That'd be handy for our drawers as well. It's like, oh, it's after Christmas. I need the bigger waistline and pants.
Oh, it's the next baby. It's time for the next pair of pants. No, I never buy new clothes for myself, so that would be interesting. But just thinking about the kids' clothes, how they are always like Amos came upstairs. These pants don't fit; they're too tight. So I loosened them, and then it was like they're too loose, they're too long.
He
and
was
it's like,
so upset. It was.
Oh
so
my
funny.
gosh! Like just if there could just be the right, and I mean I fixed them, but
yeah,
it
wasn't bad. And all of these things, I don't really want them. Like it would be more.
It would just be convenient for my life.
My last one is I want a self-decorating house. Like
I'm probably not going to get to decorating the house for Christmas.
And I've decided that I absolutely love Christmas displays, and they're ridiculous, and they cost so much money. And unlike the Halloween displays, which I'm okay without, the Christmas displays I really want, and I want lots of houses to have them. It's such a fun, festive thing.
Such a labor-intensive thing, though, especially when you have kids.
It takes so much, and it can be a fun process to do, like with your kids. Wow,
we just never have the time.
And it's very expensive. You know.
Well, and the thing is, we have all the lights we need. Like we have purchased lights. Excuse me, over the years to have an appropriate amount of lights to line our roof. It's just. We don't have the time to get out the ladder, because if I get out the ladder, that means I have to have all the kids in quiet time, because Asher will run for the road, or somebody else will try to climb up the ladder. And, I have a problem climbing up the ladder at being almost 9 months pregnant, but I'm pretty sure I get yelled at by somebody somewhere.
Yes, you would.
I got yelled at before when I was pregnant climbing up a ladder.
By your husband.
The neighbor came over and was like, you shouldn't be doing that when you're pregnant. But I don't know. Like I want the house decorated. I haven't had the time. We haven't had a free weekend.
You know what I really want, though?
It's so tough.
I could almost sell it as decorating is fun, and you're in that festive mood, and the kids can help, and you can get it done. But I want a self-undecorating house, not a self-decorated. I want it to come down. It's not that hard to
just take the end of the light straight and you just yank them all
you break
off.
everything.
You break all those little plastic hooks, so they're not reusable.
I could decorate and make it an activity for the kids, but the undecorating, it's like the middle of January, and you're like, I don't want to go out there, and it's like just to take things down and make it less festive. That's not an enjoyable thing for me.
It's just so hard when you have little kids. We'll get there someday when we're old and we don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, it's like, all right,
we can pay someone to hang up our lights.
There you go. But yes, when we're wealthy.
Unless we get that, what is that in a live action Grinch where they have that gun that they just shoot and
it
just decorates
the little
roof. Yeah, we just need one of those. That's what you should invent.
That's what I want.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
You should invent.
I want the gun from the Grinch where she shoots the lights onto the.
They get up onto the roof and perfect.
It's amazing.
This is a really admirable grown-up Christmas.
Yeah,
admirable.
We're about as petty. Well, that's the whole point, right? Come up with your petty Christmas list. Listeners, if you have petty Christmas list items, let us know in the comments and stuff on the Facebook page and whatnot, because that would be really funny to hear what you guys have got.
Truly.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. We love making this podcast. We hope you enjoy listening. Thanks so much to whoever makes our theme song. We are grateful. And are you ready to send us out with the mom joke of the week?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So a gingerbread man went to the doctor's office. He was complaining of a sore knee. And the doctor asked him, have you tried icing it?
That was good. I like that. It's topical, timely. I love it.
Yeah, we're going with the Christmas theme this year.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.